All right, let's cut straight to the core of survival and growth for any business: capital. Today, we're breaking down the strategic nuances of debt versus equity financing so you can confidently fund your next big move. Imagine you're standing at this massive fork in the road. You're trying to figure out the absolute best way to get the capital you desperately need. Look, every founder, every entrepreneur, and literally every major CEO faces this exact moment. You've got the vision, right? But how do you actually fund it? Let's make this totally tangible. Picture that your business needs exactly $100,000 right now. Maybe it's to launch a killer new product, hire a critical team, or just keep the lights on while you expand. Whatever it is, you need that 100 grand. So, that brings us to the $100,000 question: the two paths to capital. Here's the crucial point. Both paths are going to drop that necessary funding right into your bank account today. But choosing the wrong one, man, that could cost you massive amounts of money down the line, or even cost you your control over the company. They both give you cash, but how they shape your future is completely different.
Let's start with option 1, debt, or borrowing the funds. Simply put, debt financing is a straightforward loan. Your business gets the cash it needs today, but you're locked into a strict schedule. You're committing to returning that principal amount plus interest.
And the math is really where the true cost hides. If you borrow that 100 grand at, say, a 10% interest rate, you're actually on the hook for $110,000, or honestly, probably more. That extra 10 grand, that is the literal price of leveraging debt. Now, the massive advantage here is obvious. You keep 100% ownership. You are totally in control. But the heavy downside? Those payments are mandatory. You have to repay the loan, even if your business hits a rough patch, struggles, or just doesn't hit those revenue targets you projected. I love this quote from our source material because it perfectly captures the reality of loans. It says, "Debt is like carrying weight, useful but risky. It's basically like wearing a weighted vest. It can be an incredibly useful tool to build momentum, but it inherently adds a ton of risk if you happen to stumble." All right, let's pivot to option 2, equity, which is selling a stake. With equity, instead of going to a bank, you sell a piece of your business to an investor. You're bringing in outside individuals or firms who provide the cash, but instead of asking for you to pay them back, they ask for ownership. So, take the equity path and an investor hands you that $100,000. But in return, they might take, let's say, 20% of your company. Your slice of the pie drops to 80%. Sure, there's no repayment schedule, but they are now a permanent part owner. You absolutely get the relief of 0 monthly loan repayments, which is huge when cash is tight. But you do sacrifice control, because now you've got an investor weighing in on your business decisions. And the ultimate risk? Think about it. If your company explodes into this massive success, that initial 20% slice you gave away for 100 grand could eventually be worth millions and millions of dollars. So how do we compare these? Let's look at balancing the capital structure. When you pit them directly against each other, the strategic differences are pretty stark. Debt is actually cheaper if your business becomes a massive success, because, hey, you keep all the profits. But if your cash flow is super uncertain, equity is definitely the safer bet. A bad month isn't going to trigger a default and bankrupt you. Big companies almost never rely on just one of these. They blend both paths together to balance their risks, which creates what we call their capital structure. Finding that exact right ratio of debt to equity is literally one of the most important things a business can do to sustain its growth over time. Which brings us to our final section: which path is yours, and making the smart choice. When you're evaluating these options for your own company, lean towards debt if your income is highly predictable, you demand full control, and you can easily handle those mandatory repayments. On the flip side, pivot to equity if you need massive capital injections, your business model is inherently risky, or you actively want the strategic guidance and the network of an expert investor. Ultimately, while debt can steadily grow your business and equity can rapidly accelerate it, understanding this core difference is what prevents catastrophic mistakes. Smart founders don't just go for quick money. They choose based on their long-term goals. They're looking at what their business actually needs to thrive over the next decade, not just the next month. So, based on everything we've unpacked today about your financial future, which path are you taking? If you were handed that $100,000 choice right now, would you take a loan and shoulder the weight, or give away a piece of your company to share the risk? It's the ultimate business decision. What's your move?